guys, and welcome to 2018 Cat Taroscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are in tarot kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associated High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it Fall Equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally, but it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared, and in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only a preparation for the next cycle of life, one that we naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards, because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had the higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me it is time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things. And I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as I call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase would be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well. But this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have, telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered these kind of fires, the solar plexus, these are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this, factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also, we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head, or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always needing to look better or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. And I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached that. But this is for other people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. It's talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action, put its finishing touches and say, hey, Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi Virgo, this is Kat, and thank you very much for purchasing 2018 overview. So after realizing that this year is all going to be about balance and we are going to be rewarded for doing the work and basically punished for not doing the work, it's literally karma in action kind of a year. Year number 11 also is going to be sort of like Aquarian year where giving is kind of needed, and you have this balance showing up in your cards that I see here. There is like the same card of this 11 that is showing up here, so you actually do have a huge potential living up to it. And this is also that Aquarian card of a number 10. So there is a big shift happening for you until the end of the year. So let me guide you through. I mean, I'm seeing wonderful things, but I'm also seeing things that you need to work on. So take your pen and paper and write down, because literally it's the homework to be done, like every other sign. Like astrology always tells you, oh, you know, this is trajectory and this, almost as if it's carved in stone. Tarot says, no, sweetie, you are God. You are kind of like going in a certain direction. You kind of like are pushing to this finish line, but you also can be the one who is lazy. You also could be the one who does nothing, and hence choose. The very first card that came out was Waterfall and effortless. You are starting year right out of the gate, kind of like something that feels natural. Something that waterfall is like something that flows from higher to lower ground, right? Eventually finding its way to the ocean, right? It's kind of like one of those very exquisite and dynamic demonstrations in the nature, right? It's kind of graceful, it's powerful, and we always have the moment whenever we see that, right? So you have come to the edge of your comfort zone, which waterfall is. It gets to the certain stage and has to kind of like keep finding different way. And maybe you have been fighting to resist moving past maybe some kind of perceived precipice, right? Over here, or who you are, how you can be, and what you can do. You're actually being asked right now to step beyond this edge and allow yourself to do so with ease rather than struggle for it. At times, it's going to ask you for physical exertion, right? But everything that you will have to do will have to be with fluidity and grace, even if something seems daunting. If you're planning to do any kind of exercise routine, yoga definitely will be one of my suggestions, or any kind of like rhythmic motion kind of like routines. If you guys are approaching thinking about some kind of relationship or situation, also approach it with awareness and grace, right? Don't try to make it actually effortless. If you try to insist, oh, it has to be easy, it has to be easy, all of a sudden it becomes hard and it creates more strain. The key word here is to just allow. This is not the time to fight, but simply just to surrender. So, you know, it's not so much go with the flow, because like each time there is like the new kind of like precipice to kind of like encounter. But you're going to find that the water's there to be ultimately still and calm, because you kind of end up on the bottom in the lake. So this is a solar plexus karma. It is asking you to kind of like breathe in and breathe out, because relaxing, it kind of brings this confidence that you can actually do that and bridge this. So this is actually coming in with few other things, right? It's coming in with financial and material changes. So it's a 5. It is the card of some kind of instability. It is asking you, do you really know what you want, right? Who is the person who may let you down? Looks like in this year, and that's what my quick review said it to me, you'll be dealing a lot with who are your true friends and who are they not your true friends. Also, you'll be dealing with sort of like shadow aspects of yourself, as you can see here. If you're a woman, you'll be trying to be a little bit more masculine, not by wearing mustache, but simply kind of like to be more, maybe even aggressive, more like asking for what you want. If you're a man, it's going to be the opposite. You're going to try to be softer. You're going to kind of like listen more and maybe spend more time trying to express your words. You see, there is this heart chakra. This is also balance. This is temperance card, but this is called balance. And this entire year, number 1 is balance. It is asking you to detach. Look, this is her shadow, walking out from the cold and trying and finding her new freedom. This is really important, because this card came reversed. And this is going only in the first quarter for you guys. So I would not really be concerned about it, because it might be instability, but this instability is for you to find your sea legs, to find, hey, maybe certain things are not the right place, maybe not the right time, maybe not the right person. So the whole key here is just like a waterfall said, is to simply kind of like experience this, you know, going through these things. Nothing really more or nothing less. It is like just keep going. Like the waterfall, don't try to strain it. Don't try to kind of like say, I have to resolve it, I have to do that, because it looks like almost the entire first quarter you are simply just sensing. It's a kind of sensing quarter, and kind of like getting into the grip of the things. So just like almost like observing somebody doing some action over and over again, except you're going to be seeing yourself about that. Then the second quarter, you are getting into the island kind of like a mood, and this is a beautiful card. I don't know how much, let me try to put it on autofocus for you, so maybe you can see a little bit more of a card. This camera is overly sensitive, so remove it from autofocus, because you can see the camera in the background, because it starts being foggy. Look at this beautiful scene. Isn't this a beautiful island, mind you, with the thunderstorms coming? So the solitary tree on basically this island, surrounded by this kind of like beautiful, basically glassy sea, can evoke different feelings in you, right? It just really depends on what are your perceptions and what are your beliefs. So this tree, which you can see, it's in full blossom, right? Stands out like in this kind of relative starkness, and it's kind of illuminated by this kind of like, look, this huge beam of light, kind of like really making it a highlight. So it's kind of like really elegant reminder of how even in what might appear to be relatively barren circumstances, there still is beauty and growth. So island sometimes can be a metaphor for isolation or even desolation. But this thriving tree proves that even in the harshest of environments, there is life. So this is telling me that whatever caused instability, whatever lessons you got in the first 3 months, you kind of like need to take some time for solitude. Keep in mind, this is your card, guys, because in tarot you are represented with as hermit, but here you're presented with island. So whatever the solitude you can afford, whether this is a morning, afternoon, or even the entire day by yourself, something that is completely unplanned and unstructured. Let me repeat that, Virgo: unplanned and unstructured. Wake up, just see what you feel like doing. When you're tired of this, go to the next thing. So this is when certain things start to happen, because we are sometimes too bombarded on our senses by the noise and intensity of society, and that kind of like is not leaving you in a space where you actually can get these vibrations, that you can actually influence your things. Instead, these vibrations that are coming your way are actually taking your powers away, and this is telling you, look at this tree, look at the power that you can actually have. You just have to give it some time to recharge. So when you have passed through any self-constructed barriers to enjoying this quiet peace of solitude, it will serve you best if you simply observe the thoughts and emotions that actually pass through you. You're watching maybe, a television, a movie, and something comes to you. The movie kind of like sends you a message. Write it down, right? You are riding a bicycle. Write it down. Like all of a sudden the firefly gets in your face. Woo! Experience it. Look this firefly in the eyes. Don't just like shove it away. So this is really asking you to kind of like experience things deep inside of you and to connect with who you really, really are. It is calling you for this awareness. It is definitely asking you to open this chakra. And the moment when you start experiencing the solitude moments, this card will turn around. Same as here. Once when you start getting in the grip of things will start to fall in a balance. All of a sudden, it's going to be right time, right place, right person, because you're going to be having this ability to adjust to any situation that is needed. Same thing here, right? Well, maybe it feels like, okay, how do I open up? How do I open up? Don't make an effort about that, because things will just come to you, and this light will start to open up. So this is kind of like how this is being drawn, and all of a sudden things will start to happen. It's going to be twofold. Some of you who do this work will get into this. Maybe you have a partner, maybe you will be dating the first quarter, and this dating will seemingly look like going nowhere, or either the wrong partner or the wrong place or the timing, or something's supposed to happen. You're supposed to kind of get steady, and that doesn't happen. And then just like this, you did this work, you're just observing this, you didn't affect this karma. You're saying, you know what, let me just go this effortless, just like see where this goes. Okay, I'm encountering the next problem at work. I'm encountering this next problem in my relationship. And then it's telling you, just experience this. First quarter, just allow yourself to kind of go with this and experience this. And then it's going to happen. For those of you who did this work, who were not kind of controlling it and pushing it for something to happen, now it's going to be this time for two of you to come together. Or if you are just starting to look for somebody, this is the quarter to go. So first, maybe you need to figure out what you need, what you want, and what is non-negotiable, and what is suppressing you. So make sure when this partner is finally saying yes to whatever this next level is, that this is not a person who suppresses you or kind of like that feels tied down, nor that you are tying down that partner. For those of you who are not going to do this work, you're going to be encumbered all of a sudden. You will feel this anxiety. It's going to feel that there is burden coming on. It's going to feel that, there is no exit. The truth is, again, you're making it like, I mean, you're making this strain on yourself. You guys are perfectionists. It's always a problem when, you know, like when I deal with Virgos, which is a lovely thing. I mean, that's the part of Virgo that I have, but it's also something that stresses you a lot. So with this messaging that I'm getting, it's clearly telling you, you have to slowly step aside from being, let's call it a Virgo, and kind of like shed anything that kind of has been captured in you like an issue. The third quarter, you're having this beautiful, beautiful card, love and compassion. And in this beautiful image, we see hands. Like, look at this. For those of you guys who do work, and literally work is just to observe. Work is just like to realize, okay, let me see life. Instead of me creating life, let's see what life creates for me. So just looking at everything, looking at jobs, looking at other people, and just experiencing it. Because look at this. This is continuing over here. So this green field, right, that we see surrounding them is the color of the fourth or heart chakra, right? It is when we feel love in our heart center that we not only naturally emit this healing energy of compassion, but we also attract love. And you have it here as well. You guys have love, love, love everywhere. But it's like carrot on the stick, which you actually can get, right? Because you see, studies by Heart Institute or Heart Math Institute, don't quote me on this one, reveal that the electrical signals from the heart are up to 60 times stronger than the brain's. And the magnetic field is as much as like 5,000 more powerful. So it is given that our thinking patterns, right, affect our feelings. And this is why these thinking patterns had to be kind of shutted away and kind of like sorted out. Like maybe it was like too much thinking and too much pressure that you have putting on yourself, right? So what we put out, whatever it is, love or fear or empathy, sadness, kind of contains an incredible amount of power to shape and influence our reality. So this is talking about your wounds are being healed, because anything that we kind of have stems from the illusion of separation from the source and energy, the creator, whatever you want to call it. So the route to healing this wound is through cultivating love and compassion for every being on this planet, starting with yourself. You see, even if you have a partner, you will have to claim yourself being a number one. And give yourself this love. Do not wait for your partner to do that to you, which they will give from what I see, but this is talking about the healing as well, right? So respect the fact that your heart is a giver, like putting out electrical energy, and a receiver, which kind of draws in magnetic energy. This is like something that works in us naturally. This is built-in mechanism, right? You cannot stop the heart. You stop the heart, you stop. So these energy are best sensed by attending to the steady flow of your breathing. So breathing keeps coming back over here. And if you have anything that you need to forgive, just work on that. I mean, you don't need to forget. Forgetting is sometimes not good because we learn the best from things that we actually experience. But forgiveness is something that kind of like removes that separations that we maybe feel sometimes with other people or other emotions. So this is kind of being coupled over here with suffering in silence. Maybe it is still dealing with some kind of like old issues that are buried deep inside of you. And this is going to be all lifted off. It's just like asking you to start not looking into some of gray pictures, but to kind of like see the colors and see there's more in life, and then move on to it. Move it, grab this heart, make it blossom. It is something that can really, really happen for you. And when it's happening, do not scatter yourself. Do not go back after doing all this work, going right back to where you started. The Fool card is a wonderful card. When Fool reverses, it tells me, hey, don't fall back into the old patterns because you have been working a lot. You deserve better. So once when you start seeing, instead of this gray, you start seeing color. Once when the smile starts like budding your face, it is time for you to move and latch onto this feeling and hold it in, hold it so precious, more precious than gold, diamond, or anything else. And lastly, we have this like last phase, the last quarter, that is going to be absolutely amazing because you're achieving this detachment, you're achieving this like unity, you are actually getting number 11 upright. So my dear Virgo, let me just start telling you about your last quarter. The first house is I am house. It is about awareness of self. It is about appearance, and it is about outward personality. Remember how in your reading you had the Fool reversed? Well, you're actually going with something else. Maybe you're going to come up with a completely new image. Maybe you're going to free yourself from some kind of preconceived notions. And you're going to feel really positive and really confident about your looks. Fool generally kind of has this enthusiasm about starting anything new, right? Personality is going to be kind of bubbly, but sort of like really craving about learning new things. Fool is the basics of the deck, right? Being zero, it's basically everything, right? So maybe you're going to decide to kind of simplify your life, because look at this. Let me just actually put it back on autofocus. Look at this. He is having a really light load, and he's really trying to go into kind of like new and next direction. So the Fool is standing like right on the edge of the precipice, knowing, well, you know, nothing will happen to me. This is like such a kind of positive attitude and positive belief that things can happen. So I'm anticipating you'll be doing lots of changing, my dear Virgo. And whatever it is, even if it's something that you don't like, you can switch it, but you'll be doing appearance change big times. So the second house is your I have house. It is about your personal resources, money, possessions, values, and skills. And we did see there that you're going to go through some kind of period of adjustment. You see, this deck doesn't have reverse, but it has the other side, which is not exactly the same as reverse, because she has given this completely different two meanings. You had that trust card over there, right? And these two demons basically would be part of that card, and saying, look, somehow they came to this tower. See, this is the tower, this is where people are falling apart, this is basically the disaster. So if you got this card, it would be ouch. But here you're getting this understanding. Look at this tower is hollow, and maybe some values, maybe something you strived toward got kind of like under question mark. You're wondering, like, why are certain things getting ahead and I'm not getting ahead? The truth is, you're competing with other people on their own terms, right? So if we judge dolphins on basically their rating skills, they would always lose because we are judging them on our terms. This is saying that maybe something that you already knew, something is not working out. Maybe you were wearing the mask. Maybe somebody else was wearing the mask, right? Maybe something needs kind of brush up. Maybe because this is falling in the house of also your values and your skills. Maybe you're going to feel like you need to kind of like fire it up. Maybe you kind of like feel like you have to go to the next level. Maybe you feel like maybe you fallen behind in your expertise. So Tower is definitely talking about a shakedown and shake up. Not as harsh as here, not when somebody's like watching over you. No, here is like kind of like in a better way where you're saying, okay, wait a minute, you know what? This is still happening, but like you do have a way of kind of escaping this tower. It is still a readjustment, but this is a readjustment that you are well aware of and possibly well aware of even at this time, something that needs to be done. And this is going to be a good year to do it. We are coming to the house number 3. House number 3 is like my I think house, which is your immediate environment, mental activity, learning, siblings, and communication. So you have a King of Cups, the other side of King of Cups. So King of Cups has to learn when he's in the side that you can be gentle. Maybe there is an issue, maybe there is a blockage, maybe somebody's turning back to you within this communication. And I think this too could be also relating. Maybe somebody's judging you about how things should be done. You know how parents are, oh, you should do this or you should that, almost as if they are some kind of gods, and when they render their opinion, you should just follow this. I mean, I have this with neighbors and everybody. Everybody has like their 2 cents about it. My brother tells me, and my brother is like extremely buff. I mean, bodybuilding is pretty much his hobby. He's a personal trainer, and he's also working full time as as a VP of IT department. And so he says, like, I'm in an elevator and there is this guy next to me who is chubby, has a big pot belly, and he sees me like being all muscular and buff. He kind of little looks like Schwarzenegger, and he starts giving him fitness advice. He said, dude, wake up. So this is something that is telling me about awakening. It's awakening of some kind of emotionality, and it's falling into your learning. And learning is, I'm really seeing very, very strong learning this year, but it's not going to be only in a school. It's not only going to be stuff that you get certifications. As we've seen like there from the solitude, you'll be learning about yourself. You might be the one turning back to something. You might be possibly cutting communication off from somebody, or you might even find different ways of communicating. Maybe with somebody it's like very non-productive. Maybe they always need to win. Maybe they always have to have their 2 cents and like not really care about you. And you're going to maybe find a completely different strategy. Maybe it's going to come to some kind of like shakedown, and it's going to be, I'm not going through that. This is a year for me. You're going to start feeling this really, really quickly and throughout the year that this is your year. Because the entire tarot journey is about this guy, or actually he's not a guy, he doesn't have a gender. So this is about this journey. It's something new, guys. It's a still not very active stage. This is still kind of like very much seeding stage. And seeding stage with saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to get rid of everything that you had before. I like this, I like this, I like this, but I don't like these kind of things. So certain things will have to collapse. And looks like for you it's going to be in the area how you communicate with the others. I'm not saying you're not a good communicator, it's just going to be different. Maybe you're going to find sort of a list, and find a list of people you want to enter your life and people who are not on the invite list, and hence you're going to make it a really huge difference between those 2 categories. Then we are talking about the nurturing here, and this is home, parents, roots, and inner security. This is going to be something that's going to be the area that you will be doing lots of work. You see, remember how I was telling you when you had like your general spread, and just like here, this is like a turn back to something, to you, to your own destiny. So that's why I'm seeing this is probably going to be in the first maybe 3 to 6 months. Mourning about certain things. Oh my gosh, I'm too old, I am too skinny, I'm too fat, I am too blonde, I'm too dark haired, I have brown eyes, no, I have blue eyes. No matter who you are and what you have, it's going to be wrong. So it's going to be maybe part of this like new self-image and new self-esteem, and maybe even the new kind of like look that you're going to have. This card is saying really clearly that while he was maybe crying over spilled milk, and oh my gosh, this is gone, it's gone forever, it's never going to be kind of like found. You see these 2 cups? It's saying you need to turn around. Don't take anything that you feel sad for granted, because there will always be silver lining for you guys. There is going to be a new spirit of growth only if you want to look at it. Maybe somebody here turned their back to you. Maybe there was like this kind of like shakedown of values, etc. Maybe you're mourning this. This is saying, do not do that. Do not get stuck there. Because I'm seeing you might get stuck. And remember how even in the general reading was keep repeating this. You need to kind of let go. No matter what happens, let go and experience this. Because you also had 11, which is also karma, which is also justice card. And it's saying you are here not to take justice in your own hands. It's just like here to observe. And what is happening to you is happening for a reason. So this is your house number 5, which is I serve house, personal creativity, romance, children, fun, and creativity. And I know that many of you are asking about romance. This is still talking about repeating old patterns. The world card here is reversed. Is the other side. So she is like not exuberantly celebrating going to the next level. So I think you will be really, and since like you'll be dating, remember how I said you have to shed some old patterns. You have to be aware. And you can see here the snake biting its own tail. That's always a symbol of shedding. And symbol, when snake sheds its skin, it goes through the rocks and wiggles through the rocks, and it's not painless process because you have to rub the skin off and kind of like pull it off. So this is saying, look, maybe you're going to be lost initially in this, but you need to shed your own skin. I honestly see that you're going to kind of resolve these issues by saying, I am reinventing myself. I do not want to be stuck in the old patterns and the old issues. And this is simply telling me that it's asking of you in your romance department, in your children, fun, creativity department, try different things. Completely try different things. So here we are going into your I serve, but daily life, right? So sort of like work, health, service, and self-improvement. So what is it? Do you really feel that you're so much above the issues? Because look at him. He's looking at the village here, right? He's like really thinking that he's so much above this village. Does he really believe that he's the only thing that matters? Or does he believe that he has so much that he can now share with others? Which I think it's your case. You did have this love card. Because this is ultimately a card about practical compassion. It is like something that you can give. So I think that you might be improving yourself a lot. You will possibly get a coach, and the studying and work on you is consistent. Maybe you're going to get a new coach. Maybe you're going to get a new job. Maybe you're going to start studying new philosophies. Maybe you're going to start volunteering for any causes that are really, really important to you. It's definitely going to be what I can give. It's going to be this compassion that you'll be willing to kind of like share with the others. So we are coming to the number 7, which is the marriage and other partnerships. So this one is almost like smooth sailing. It's not going to have any major disturbances. It's going to say, look, just look at the details. Like this is where you guys excel. And you need to let go of the previous things, old patterns that are not working out. And almost like looks like you're not going to even have a choice, because it's going to kind of burn it down for you if you don't want to do it yourself. So it's going to keep challenging you, because whenever we need to shift, this is a big card, especially because you have the Fool. With Fool you start, you finish with the World. And look at this, within 1 year, you are going through this accelerated process of getting there. So it's almost there. You just need to let go of something that maybe you're holding on to. And the moment when you kind of like accomplish this, when the moment when this Tower lesson is done, which can feel like ouch lesson, you're going to feel, oh my gosh, I really didn't deserve it. You know, this is like the first go-to that we go to when we complain. But it shouldn't be like that, right? So accept what's coming to you and just see what happens out of it. So this is that Scorpio house number 8, sex, death, letting go, regeneration, other people's money, and sharing. And you are having a Queen of Pentacles, pardon me, reversed. So don't spend money on things that are not useful. You kind of have to understand that could be always new beginnings in something, because I really particularly think this is about letting go for you in this house, which we saw it before. You kind of like really need to separate yourself from something that at this stage it feels like really big and significant to you. This is telling me that you will not really be taking advantage of other people's money, and this is not going to be that kind of a year anyway. It's going to be more or less finding who you are, finding this kind of throne, because look at this. Now we have king and queen sitting together, and I told you some of you will get married. This is ideal coupling, absolutely ideal. She is a very good homemaker, but even if she's not homemaker, she's going to be very resourceful. She's going to be go-to person who will organize all these community events, go to children's schools, kind of pack lunches for the kids. And he's going to be solid person, kind of like always see him as a guy at Tupperware parties who is allowing his wife to cater the party, and he's there just as a support and smile and listens, and he's like really that kind of a guy. So two of them are reversed because something is not being let go. The moment when you let something go, they also reverse. And this is when this marriage and proposal is coming to play, right? So it's not going to be only letting go of it, but you're letting this go because this is in your best interest. You want these two cards to reverse. So we are getting into I Explore, basically segment for house number 9, which does talk about higher education, philosophy, publishing, religion, travel, and law. And you have this other side of the moon, which before the moon, and you had that, it was called silence. You had the star card. And this to me, in this particular deck, I see this as a star, because this kind of like would be forward into unknown. And here, the star is going from this total eclipse of the moon, right? And she's going towards something new. There we have towers again, and we also have the hollowness of the tower, and we have the 2 towers over here, and she's walking away from it. There are no demons. You see, it was complete rebirth. There is like no trouble anymore. It's just like something completely new. So you guys are reinventing yourself, and this again goes back to this education or maybe new philosophy. If you guys are writers, or if you're working something that is connecting to writing or publishing or religion or travel or law, this is going to be highly auspicious. Highly. This is definitely something that is going to work in your favor, and you should really write it. So then we have the house number 10, and this is your career, this is your status, reputation, pretty much the outer world, right? Purpose, taking power. And then you have like the Knight of Cups. Looks like you will be able to apply your charms. Maybe this is as part of new image, because as Virgos, you are not that you're not charming, you're like sort of like not dwelling on charm. You don't think that you have to dress for the success. You think that you need to dress for the occasion. You're going to change this. You're going to start thinking, wait a minute, why to make it so hard and so dry? Yes, maybe I have all these abilities, but why not to make it really enjoyable? This almost has a little bit of seductive energy in it, right? So you will be taking power as who you are, getting reborn, but also kind of like having a complete new gentleness about you. But you're not sacrificing your truth. This is like your house of Aquarius, which is talking about friends and groups and goals and aspirations. You'll be cutting off some of them. You will kind of like figure out your own truth in this year. And being a year number 11, this is kind of like a year of air element. It definitely is going to be something hard and fast and kind of like cutting anything that doesn't work. This is definitely kind of like focus on, like razor focus on, right? So not everybody is supposed to be your friend. And if people are taking away your, splendor, or your, wind, or you're not feeling this thing, you just like get together with them because it's something to do, you might find something else. As I said, you will maybe go to different strategies with different philosophies. You will study certain things. Maybe you're going to get completely new friends because you're turning back to something. And you will also want people in your life be gentle and giving and caring. And here we are. House number 12, I dream house, which is talking about your spiritual life. It's talking about solitude, institutions, but also about transcendence and self-sabotage. And you're getting the Lover's card. See, the Lover's card here, interestingly, is showing both the flowers holding hands, but being masked. So you guys will be working on kind of like finding the truth, who you are. And clearly you're not going to go for somebody who just pretends, for somebody who looks good on a paper. Clearly in the solitude house, which basically you did have a cross, right? The general reading. This card is all about choices. Do I really want to get stuck maybe in a certain situation, or do I really want to learn more? Where I was sabotaging myself and why? Am I being true to myself, and am I really seeing other people the way I should see them? And you're going to open your heart. You see, like this kind of like goes back to especially something with a career. Maybe it's even going to be a new job for some of you, because this ultimately talks about finding the best for you, finding the most that your heart would actually love, and is going to be progressive for you to move forward. So now when you know all these houses, let's check your Lenormand and see maybe the major kind of like lay of the land that you can expect in 2018. Let's see your Lenormand. It is kind of very interesting because whether you're man or woman, I think these all messages would be kind of relating to you. Overall, a really, really good year. If you guys are expecting a child, it's going to be mixed bag. You might get pregnant, but there will be few miscarriages around. However, ultimately it's going to succeed. Or if you have a child that has health issues, this might need some kind of money for kind of fixing it. And your partner might be very instrumental about this. Now, the very center of your reading, we have the locket, the journal, the key, the crossroads. Now, let me try to zoom it in so you can see this maybe closer. There you go. See, we have the lady here, and then we have the gentleman over here. We do have, however, sun shining on you guys, and it's kind of like really well aligned for being surprised, kind of like really experiencing. The lilies are talking about some kind of spirituality, and maybe look at this is kind of talking to me about your past. You have the mice, the clouds, the grave, all really bad cards, because it looks like, and this is like what I'm seeing, that you're kind of like shedding this by going in 2018 Whatever the confusions you had, maybe you were traveling for a while, whether that was like real travel or maybe just spiritual travel, and like now it's going from the rider to the ship, like for something short and sweet to something bigger. And maybe you have learned that you actually have to go on this path. Maybe this is why you've been listening to tarot, because you're learning, well, wait a minute, sure, I want to find out about this partner and this partner, but hey, I'm learning that if I do that, all of a sudden I'm raising my vibrations, I'm getting to the next level. Because the lilies can also talk about somebody from the past coming back in your life, something that almost looks like dead. You have the grave over here. Maybe there was a third person, guys, that you have been dealing with who got in the way, right? But look at her. She is looking at this grave and she doesn't like it. So some of you are dealing with government, with paperwork, with looking for a new job. And this kind of like is also going to be part of where your attention will go. But you will also be finding possibly a new vocation. New would be maybe, for some of you, becoming entrepreneurial. Maybe you'll be even able to create jobs for the other people. Or maybe you'll be kind of debating, do I really want this self-employment or do I really want a job? It's going to be kind of the year of asking yourself these questions. Now, where is the ring? I saw the ring. Where did it miss it now? This is the key. The ring. I want to see the ring. Oh, there is a lady with the ring. Okay, that's why I'm seeing it here. See, the ring is like knighting the cross, and that kind of like stuck to me. But the ring is like following the sickle. So you are not going to rush into any commitments. You do want to settle down, but you kind of do have requirements. As I said to you, sex is not going to be something that is going to be lacking here if you want it. But you will really kind of dedicate yourself, and also the children are the key, especially if you have children or if you're planning to have children. Just make sure that you're getting your health checks, that everything is in place. Some of you might be moving this year, and the place you will move into is going to be your dream home. Or you're going to travel to maybe something that where you're from for some reason. There will be look at this. You have the lady, the clock tower, the crossroads, the whip, and the gentleman. So it is like clear path. Remember how we saw the wedding? It's a clear path with sort of like detours left and right. That can happen. So this person, somebody who kind of like maybe pushed you in a corner, because you're literally in a corner over here, is not going to have like any power. It looks like there is something that needs to happen, either opening new business or you moving. Some of you might be moving in high rise. This can talk about lots of things: hospitals, towers, government, even prisons, right? Something that is fated. So I cannot really say much about that, because as a result of this, it's going to get to some kind of crossroads. Something that is still unknown. So this also goes back to this education. Education is needed. It might be even correspondence school or some kind of online venture that you need to conquer. You might even meet this person that you will be with through your study. You're going to feel this kind of like new burst of energy really quickly in the first 6 months. It's going to be this new life, new lease on life, falling in love all over again, not only with the others, but also with yourself. And for the end, I want to take a few more cards for you from these two different decks, so we can seal 2018 by getting different messages. So let's see the enchanted map for Virgo. The enchanted map for Virgo for 2018. And you are having Spark reversed in this deck. And in this deck, No, I want only one. For Virgo, for 2018, I want several messages, but in one card. Here you have the Fates. So let's start with the Fates, or let's start with the Spark because it was first. Okay, the Spark reversed. It says, you're a clear channel for divine creativity. Sometimes your fire gets dosed by others who don't want you to be all that you can be. In that case, you need to move away from the water, lest things get too damp. The Spark card in the reverse position may also indicate that you're allowing yourself to be so consumed by a thought, feeling, or situation that you're in danger of becoming compulsively burnt out. Compulsion and impulsiveness must be tempered now. Rest by a warm fire. Let things die down a bit. Then you'll see if true spark will still be there. If not, you can always light another fire at another time. So this is again going back to the important things and kind of like serving yourself and finding what is really important to you. Remember that solitude card, it's pretty much coming back to that. And let's see here the Fates. You're going to get a few messages here. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on you by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. And that's why I see you guys might be actually going on this kind of like spiritual path this year. Relationship message. Other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in the situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit? Now it is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship, if this relationship is indeed fated, and if you're meant to be, then you're also meant to evolve in a better version of yourself as a result of it. Prosperity message. Your experiences concerning prosperity and abundance are beyond your personal control right now. You're being invited to accept what is unreservedly. This could be a temporary situation seemingly thrust upon you by the outside forces, but there is an underlying purpose you can't see that has been determined by the fates. It could be a situation that you're unprepared for, and you may not understand how it will benefit you in the moment. Do not fight the situation. Remember, we had this card, just experience it. Write it out and see where it leads. Surrender to it, and the serenity you need to make good choices from here on will be given to you. You will indeed flourish. So guys, simply you're going to be all cool cucumber. So let me just see this faded kind of card that you have here, which is kind of falling in the house of a woman. So ladies, you're going to specifically have the key to unlocking the spirituality in you. So this, why is this really good? Not only that, yeah, you're becoming a better person. You're kind of guided by the divine. You're becoming divine. it is also that things are going to appear different to you. You might love new things. You might completely kind of approach things differently. It's going to be your pleasure to serve. It's not going to be hardship anymore. It's simply is going to be dedication in life. And this is in the house of karma. You have owls. Owls are always talking about wiseness, right? Owls see very, very clearly in the night. It is just owls and cats that can see this like 100% in almost pitch dark, right? So kind of like, guys, dedicate your time to, elderly, to any sorrows, to any trips, to any communication. This is kind of like really time to kind of work on it. And it looks like the fate is pushing you to the next level in this year. So you guys really kind of like have to go toward it. And just remember, you do this homework, your last quarter is going to unbelievably successful. So my dear Virgo, thank you very much for serving you the past year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the channel. And thank you one more time for ordering this Taroscope from me, and have a wonderful 2018. Love you. Bye.